My name is John Connors, and I'm here on the showroom floor here at Connors Music in Keswick to do a demo and review of the Vypyr amps by Peavey. I'm going to start off by showing you the Tube 60. It's a 60 watt with tube combo, but the interface, the module that I'm actually showing you, is the same one that's available in the Vypyr 30 solid state model all the way up through the line. So all the effects and all the options I'm going to show you right now are what you can actually have whether you go with this amp or any of the other ones in the line. What I like about the Vypyr amps is that they've designed them with the traditional guitar player in mind. The layout that we're used to as guitar players is that we take our guitar, plug it into our stomp boxes, run the signal from there to our amp, and then often run choruses or modulator effects on a rack in the effects loop behind the amp. So when they've done the layout of the effects for this amp, they did a series of stomp boxes, 11 different stomp box effects, then 24 different amp models, and then the rack effects, and you can combine those three along with a reverb and delay to get 5 different effects combined all at once. Again, much what we're used to where we can tap in several things and put them together. So I'm going to start with the stomp boxes, just to give you some of the ideas. Because they didn't do licensing agreements with all the companies out there that have made stomp boxes, what they've done is just done abbreviations to give us an idea of the tone that we're achieving. First example being the Tube SCRM, Tube Scrum. And so just to give you an idea of what that sounds like. Beyond that, in the stomp boxes, they've also built in something that sounds like an analog phase. Also an analog flanger. One of my favorites here is the auto wah, for those of us that don't want to do the foot control. And then there's more that you can play with when you get your own amp. Next, we have the amp models themselves. And what they've done is given us a clean channel or a first channel and then an overdrive channel or a second channel of the amp. And we can control that by simply selecting the amp we want and then hitting the knob here in the center to change it over to the second channel. Again, because there's not agreements with all the major amp model companies, they've used abbreviations to give us an example. So the first one here is the TWN, made by a company that rhymes with Bender and makes an amp that would be the Bender Twin then. Or say, for example, the Bender Deluxe, so to give you an idea of what the Bender Deluxe sounds like. And then if we want the overdrive channel for that amp, again we just hit that. Beyond that, on the other side of the dial we have the heavy metal amps or high gain amps. And instead of doing a clean channel and an overdrive channel, because that's not what the amps were designed to really do, they gave us hot and hotter. I'll give you the example with the Peavey 6505 amp model. So here's hot. And here's hotter. After our amp models, we now have a series of rack effects that we can select from. I'll give you just a couple of the examples of those. I like the tremolo that's built in. Another great thing with these effects is that they're all editable. So simply by pushing this button, we can turn what was our pre-gain, EQ, and post-gain into the parameter controls for the reverb, delay, and then the stomp box effect itself. So if we wanted, for example, to edit that tremolo, and then to save it, we would just hit that button again to get us out of the edit mode. Whoops, that button. Just to give you an idea of a couple other rack effects. They've built in a nice chorus. like this slapback effect. If you want to get experimental, the Octaver is a lot of fun. And a rotary speaker is another fun one. Now beyond that, we also can connect the Peavey Vypyr 1 foot switch to the amp, and you don't need it to operate the effects. As you saw, I was running the dials with my hands all this time, but if you do add the foot switch to it, then you can get the ability to foot control your changes, preset or save your presets, and again, just by changing one thing, we can change our stomp box, amp model, modulator effect all together in one quick step, so that we can change our complete sound. Also, we get a volume pedal with it, or expression pedal. So to just give you an idea of the switching here, I'm on a clean channel with the Fender Twin with no stomp box or rack effect, but if I hit just one button here, now I've gone to a Fender Deluxe with a tube screamer pedal and no rack effect. And then again, just hitting one more time, I can switch to the overdrive channel of the B-Cat amp with no stomp box or rack effect. One more time, because I've got 4 presets per bank. Now I've got it set to go with a boost on, again, the clean channel now of the B-Cat amp with the slapback. After we've operated that, we also have the option of changing our expression pedal, our volume pedal, by pushing it all the way down into a wah pedal that we can function with our foot, unlike the auto wah. And that's just engaged and disengaged by pushing all the way down on the pedal. The last part that I want to show you today, and it's one of my most fun functions in the amp, I've played with this a lot in the showroom, is the built-in looper. Now this is built into the interface of the amp, but you can only access it if you do add the foot switch. Now we access it by pushing down buttons 3 and 4. That gets us into the looper. Then by hitting the record play button, we can record our first loop. Stop our loop and reset it by holding down button 4. So again, a lot of fun. I think that's a great tool. I would have used it when I was learning a lot more to work on my lead stuff, because now I've got my built-in rhythm player to play along with to learn those skills. Instead, I had to ask my friend to actually sit beside me and play over and over again while I practice that solo. So now we get to be much more efficient with our practice time. It's a great tool for learning, but then a great sounding amp as well, so it's got basically the whole package. Beyond that, just on the 75 watt amp and up, you'll also see a USB record out. This gives us the option to connect it to a computer, and it can actually operate as our audio interface as well. So if you're setting up a home studio, it may be the great fit for you for that as well. I hope you've enjoyed this little demo and review on the Peavey Vypyr amps. And if you want to see this done in real life and in real person, drop by the store anytime. We'd be happy to go through the amps with you, let you plug into them and give them a try so that you can see how rockin' this package is.